Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us, Kalia. We're also recording this session for playback because we had about 8 folks registered, and I know some will be able to take advantage of the replay. So I'm Dr. Matt Regis, Director of Graduate Studies and a professor of PR and advertising and professional communication here in the college. And I'm joined by 2 fantastic colleagues today. Ani Mauricio, who is from the Office of Graduate Admission, and we're kind of turning both directions because we've got you in person and online. And then our colleague Seth Horning is our Senior Graduate Advisor. So all BA, MA, and all graduate students get the attention of Seth, and he's been around DePaul for a minute or two.
A little bit.
So we are very fortunate to have a award-winning graduate advising team and graduate admission. Ani, and then you may be interacting with Flavio Diaz or Andre Lewis, who are our colleagues in graduate admission. And welcome to this is the 3rd one we've put on this year. If you're watching this live or recording, spring is very important for you if you are a junior, because you need to, before the end of your spring quarter, you're gonna need to have applied for the BA, MA option. So whether you're watching this live or in some cases researching this a little bit early, which is fantastic. Maybe you might be a sophomore. And then if you have any questions after, if you're watching either live or this recording, you're gonna have the contact information then to grad admissions, or you can reach out directly to me or directly to Seth. DePaul at a glance, you probably already know a lot of this stuff, right? Given the focus is for DePaul undergrads, but we are the nation's largest Catholic university. We're the largest private university in the Midwest. We're represented by all 50 states, a whole bunch of countries. We've got a particularly strong alumni base right here in Chicagoland, of where our alums choose to stay. You're here in the College of Communication, which is one of our 10 colleges here at DePaul. And then we're very proud of our career success rate. So very high placement rate, essentially. And if you're thinking about and you're here to do the BA, MA, chances are you're thinking about next steps with your career and how to level up your knowledge and skills and network. And if that's what you're interested in doing, I think it's safe to say that you've come to the right place. Agenda, so we're gonna walk you through, Ani and I are gonna walk you through the BA, MA, your different options to go that route. We'll talk about applying, we'll talk about financing your degree, we'll explain the course scheduling. And we've got Seth to help us out and talk about how that works with the double counting of classes. Typically your senior year, you're gonna start taking some grad classes that double count. We'll talk deadlines. I've already teased it, where spring is important if you're a junior watching this live or a recording. And then we'll have a lot of time, I think we find with these sessions, perhaps what's most beneficial is just being able to chat with us and ask questions. And between the 3 of us, and we're also joined by our colleague, Dr. Grace Wong, who is Prad, PR and advertising. And so we might also pull in Grace's perspective, and we're really lucky to have her teaching not just undergrad level, but in supporting our Prad graduate program. Right, combined degrees. Do you want me to take this? Yeah. So here's kind of the pathways that when you apply for in our college, I guess it's BA, MA rather than BS, just Bachelor of Arts. So our degrees are all undergrad or BA. I did a BS actually because I did a business degree in marketing. So some colleges it's going to be a bachelor's of science, but you've essentially got four choices. Students from any undergrad program at DePaul can apply. Doesn't just need to have done their undergrad in our college, although many of our combined degree students are staying with us and did an undergrad major in our college. So communication and media, DCMA, digital communication and media arts, which we're actually in the process of, I think this time next year, it's going to be digital communication media design. It'll be DCMD instead of DCMA. Same curriculum, but will better reflect the evolution of that curriculum over time. And then, of course, journalism and what we call PRAD, so PR and advertising. Let me pause there for a second and see, does anyone have any, if you have questions at any point, and we're monitoring the chat too and in the room, just jump in so we can make this as interactive as possible.
And real quick, just to see Prad for you and Kalia, what is the program you were thinking of?
Prad as well, or
That's
digital communication and media arts.
Okay,
Excellent, thanks. Just curious.
fantastic.
For masters, can you do double like degree or a minor or a major like undergrads here?
Yeah, so at the master's level, you can only do one program at a time.
Yeah.
And there are no minors, but we do have a certificate in digital media or digital communication.
Right.
So,
Applying, just a little bit about applying undergrad students, 12 open credits, 3.0 GPA. We've talked about applying by the end of your junior year. This session, the live version, hey, welcome. Hey, hi. Make yourself at home. We got pizza, we got snacks, we got swag, and we'll have a lot of time for questions. This is being recorded. We're doing this right now during week 4. So that means right now you have a lot of time still to get your application and materials together and submitted before the end of spring. But we do want to emphasize the importance of, so you can take full advantage as a senior, the double counting of classes. You're going to submit a graduate application via the application portal on the DePaul website. Do you want to remind folks, Seth, how to access that from a student view?
so you can, if you go to the College of Communication website, you can go into the graduate side of that, and then there will be a link to the application there. So it's fairly, you can just go to DePaul and go to the graduate admissions, and you'll get to an application as well.
And if you have any trouble locating anything, it's easy to reach out to us always, and we're nothing if not responsive to this sort of request. Oh, let me just go back. Just click back. Yep. Requirements for the application differ a bit by program, but typically 2 letters of recommendation, or and then a statement of purpose, your DePaul undergrad transcript, which we already have, which makes it nice and seamless, because that's something that takes time for our traditional master's applicants, and then a writing sample. But you'll see all that information is listed on the grad, as Seth was saying, the grad section of the College of Communication website. And then academic advisor forms need to be submitted to enroll in graduate classes. Your undergrad advisors, and then Seth, who will be your graduate advisor, are familiar with this process. So when you can also explain to them what you're looking to do. It's called the combined degree program. Some people say BA, MA. Some people say 5-year program. It's all the same thing, just kind of goes under different names. Financing your degree. So this is how when we're referring to the double counting. So in your senior year, once you've applied and been admitted to the BA, MA option, you would typically take one graduate class in fall, one in winter, and one in spring. And that graduate class that you take will double count. It'll count towards your BA as well. Anything to add on that, Seth?
Yeah, I mean, that's really the biggest thing is that you have space to accommodate those graduate classes in your undergraduate degree. So in general, you can use the grad class either towards your college communication electives. So depending on your program, you have 2 to 3 of those, or they can be used towards your open electives. So if you're planning on that, just take a quick look and make sure you have open elective space for up to 3 classes, so that they'll be useful for you at the undergraduate level.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll take those grad classes, hopefully use them as an undergraduate student, and then we'll transfer them over to your graduate program. You'll use them again for the master's degree requirements.
And then the Double Demon Scholarship. So one thing that's really cool is bottom line, when you calculate the total savings by doing your master's degree through this route, it adds up to a 44% savings. Because you're essentially, once you then graduate as a senior and earn your bachelor's, then your remaining master's classes that you take in that 5th year, or say 5th and a little bit more, you then get the Double Demon discount as well. So you get the 25% off on your graduate courses. And if you add it up, it's substantial. So we're talking. I'm trying- we just-
10,000. It was
10,000 plus, it was like
It was
14.
10,000 that you save in taking the 3 grad courses at the undergrad level. So our
Right.
current tuition rate right now is 863, and then the grad courses are 4 credit hours. So when you calculate the 3 classes that are counting towards both your bachelor's and the master's degree, you're saving the 10,000 there, because a class is like 3,600.
Yeah.
Per course.
Yeah. Do you want to talk
Yeah.
a little bit, Ani, about kind of the financing of your degree?
Yeah. So you save that amount with taking those in your senior year. And then, as Matt mentioned, then you have 9 classes to complete to then get the master's after you graduate from your bachelor's degree. In terms of financing options that are available to you once you start the master's, there's the FAFSA application that you would submit to apply for. Those are basically federal student loans. And at the graduate level, we currently only have the unsubsidized loan, which has a 20,000 max per year. And then within the department, the program that you apply for, there is potential to apply for tuition waivers. They typically occur in the fall and winter, and the departments will go out with a message letting you know of the application process, how to be considered for those awards. So there's still potential then to apply for tuition waivers in that final year of your master's program, if you do it in the 1 year to do it in 5 years, which you don't have to attend part-time or full-time. There's flexibility once you graduate from your bachelor's. And then there could be other scholarships too through the College of Communication, some through the university. You can look for those opportunities through Scholarship Connect. But typically at the graduate level, it is more about what's available through the program, department, and the college that you are enrolled in.
So one thing I do want to point out, because a colleague and I, and then a graduate committee, sit over the merit and admission scholarships. Those would open up for you all once you've matriculated and you're not that senior year, but then once you're as Ani said, that 5th year plus, you would then, like, as a graduate student, you'll get messages from me, right, that will then let you know about graduate assistantships, whether they're teaching oriented or research oriented or marketing or a combination of those things. There's a limited amount of those that you would then apply for, and you would be paired then with a faculty member. And those generally come with a 1-course scholarship, plus then the hourly, 10 hours a week, the hourly stipend. So that would open up to you all. that not your senior year where you're still finishing up the bachelor's, but the year after that. Related to that, there's also limited opportunities, probably twice during the year, where we do merit scholarships that are to support continuing students that are already in the master's program. That's an application process as well. And then that actually has a committee, a graduate studies committee that reviews those applications. And those are generally also one course merit scholarship. So it covered, like Ani's saying, when we're saying that, that's around what, 3,400 or 3,500 a class. Let me pause there for a second and just see if there's any questions on that, because obviously the financial piece of this is really important, and we're aware of, like, especially in the roles that we sit in, we're aware of the needs for funding. Yes.
A question. So I have a scholarship through DePaul, and by senior year, if I do this program, I'd be taking graduate classes. Those will still be covered under my undergraduate scholarship.
Yes.
Just your undergraduate scholarship would end once you graduate with the undergrad degree. So it'll cover any grad classes you take as an undergraduate student, but not any further.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'd figure out then what that fifth year looks like,
Mhm.
but it'll still be backing you. It'll still have your back this next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
And then the other thing to point out is just at the end, at the bottom, it says scholarships, awards, discounts cannot be combined. So that 44% savings we have on the graduate degree is only taking into account the double Demon scholarship
Mhm.
award that you get when you are enrolled in grad classes. So that's something that's automatically going to be applied to your tuition bill. It's applied, it's a credit that's applied after the last stated drop based on the number of quarter hours you're enrolled in per quarter. So just knowing, if you see the full tuition bill in your master's year, it's because that credit's applied after the last stated drop, but it will be applied. And then if you were to get awards, then it's really dependent on which one provides you with the bigger discount and is more beneficial for you. So that's how that's decided.
I guess the other thing besides the double Demon, what is it just called? The graduate scholarship, that's the default that every student gets.
Right.
It hasn't bumped up. We would love to see it bump up per
Yeah.
credit hour. That's worth how much, Shani, per class?
I mean, so that's where the 25% would be the bigger discount in the CMN
Okay.
awards.
Okay.
So it's applied.
Cause that would be the bigger number
Right,
than that
yeah.
one for the non. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true, for the
yeah.
non in this case.
Right.
The
Exactly.
non, cause y'all are all double demons, so you don't even need to worry about that smaller scholarship amount that we would love to see go up, which has been static for, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
Right, Seth?
We're working on
Yeah, yeah,
it.
okay.
Okay, so-
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit. Once you're a graduate student, I mean, one thing I would say is, and some of y'all are already doing this when we, like, chatted before, is you may know, you may have classmates that are around the same year as you or a bit ahead that are already doing the BA, MA. And they're great to talk to, right? So you're getting, like, my take, Seth's take, and Ani's, but I would talk to your classmates, get that student perspective, and know that full-time for graduate students, when you're an undergrad, you're used to taking more classes per quarter. Grad classes, full-time, is 2 or more classes a quarter. The non-BA MA students, I'm gonna call them traditional grad students, they're likely to be taking 2 classes a quarter. Some cases, they may even just taking 1. Some of them might be taking 3. I think Seth has suggested that maybe like 70% or so of the BA MA are taking those 3 classes a quarter. And if you do that in your final year, you'll be done then in 5 years per se. I would caution, think about what else is going on in your life. Like, if you're working a part-time job, you can swing it. If you're working like a full-time job or multiple part-time jobs plus caregiving or family or other commitments and obligations, then that's something to think about. The good news is you can always adjust down or adjust up per quarter, and students do that all the time, depending on what's going on in their life. So we talked about, yeah, how senior year would work. This is important. Yeah, you're considered an undergrad student until your conferral of that, in our case, BA, right? So that is something to keep in mind because sometimes I'll get questions. That's why I mentioned that about applying for graduate assistantships or for scholarships. Eligibility around that, you are still considered an undergrad your senior year, even though you're starting to work on your master's. And you'll continue to meet with whoever your assigned undergrad advisor is. You'll continue to meet with them until your BA graduation.
Actually, I steal you. So if you apply and you get into the program, then I take over your undergraduate advisor role as well. So just since you'll have to get my permission every
I
quarter.
think it makes it, yeah.
So yeah, so you'd end up with me and I'll finish you out.
On there. Connect with your, hold on, just go back one. Yep, and when it says your CMN graduate advisor, that's Seth. That's Seth.
You'll get to know me real well.
You'll get to know him really well. Seth and I are in touch all the time. Ani and I are in touch all the time. And there you go, Seth Horning, right there. All right. Sit next. And in terms of questions, so Ani is pinch hitting today for Flavio. Flavio Diaz is the go-to. Probably not a day goes by that Matt and Flavio are not in touch, working on grad-related matters. So you've got, and the general email address is gradcom@depaul.edu, and that's read by the whole grad admissions team. And then you've got my information. So I've been at DePaul for 16 years now. I've probably collectively taught more graduate courses than almost anybody in this college. So I've taught a Pratt graduate course every year and helped develop another graduate program. And so I'm glad to kind of share those experiences. And then you've got Seth's information as well. And I think with that, we will open it up for questions. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, so
Hey.
I have a question about like how many total courses you have to take to become
I
like
just want to say hi, Matt.
nice to meet
What's
you.
your name?
Alexa.
Alexa? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so how many quarter or total classes you have to take to get like your graduate degree? Is it like 13 or 12?
So it depends upon the program. It's usually, well, for many of them, I don't want to say usually, 12 times 4. So normally the graduate classes are 4 credits for the most part. We're not gonna talk about pro-com. But they're normally 48 credits or 12 classes, although DCMA is 13. So DCMA is 13 classes. The other ones are 12, and 3 of those you would be doing as a senior.
Okay.
Yes, does that make sense?
Yeah,
And so that double counting is really important because it's saving you money on the bachelor's and the master's together. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Which one are you interested in?
I think I chose undecided because I'm not
Okay.
sure yet. Right
Okay.
now I'm communication and media for
Oh, okay.
undergraduate.
Okay. And what year are you right now?
So I was a sophomore, but they just switched me to like junior status.
Moving on up, Razzin
Yeah.
Junior.
Little hat, I love it.
Razzin Junior. Cool, so you may have then, if you just became a junior, you might have then until winter
Winter.
You might have, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
we've been saying spring, but you'll have, you've got more time to decide,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of depending on where you're at when you're planning on finishing the undergrad.
Yeah.
You may be a junior, but you might just be kind of on the cusp between winter and spring
Yeah.
next year, so it depends on when you plan on finishing.
Okay.
We can always work that out.
Yeah.
Good question. Any other
It's a great
questions?
question.
Yeah,
Any other
concerns?
questions?
Things
Hey,
that-
Kalia, if we could virtually send you pizza, we would.
I would love that. No, but
I
I did
know.
have a quick question. Um, I will say thank you all so much. You've been so helpful as far as answering my preliminary questions that I had. All of that has been answered. But I just want to clarify as far as course scheduling goes. So obviously, in my senior year, I would take at least one grad class, spring, fall, winter, spring, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then and then after that, after the bachelor's has been completed, I can take up to 3 courses, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you,
Yep, and the thing with that is that in those classes, some of your classmates are gonna be taking 2 classes a quarter, the
Mhm.
master students. And some, the BA, MA, if you're looking to get done more quickly, you're taking 3. But we just caveat, I always just caveat, it depends on what else is going on in your life in terms of, outside of school, in terms of work and
right.
and family. And you'll also figure that out. It's not like you're making like some year-long commitment of what your master's course load is gonna be. You can adjust it.
Yeah, because that was obviously my main goal would be to finish it as efficiently as possible. But again, I don't know what my life will look like as a grad student potentially. So it's just nice to know like I could take up to 3, but if I needed
Yeah.
to scale back, that I can.
You can totally do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Which, so you said, you're Pratt, undergrad?
Yes.
Yes. Are you thinking Pratt for, MA?
Yeah, I was thinking prep, but honestly, it might be nice to switch it up a little bit just for a little, I don't know, diversity.
Yeah.
Um, but I would like to stay with prep, but I did like the communications and media, I think it was. That seems nice as well.
Okay. Yeah, with the Pratt MA, you're gonna get exposure to some of the faculty that you've likely had for undergrad, and then probably some new faculty that you haven't had before, and the faculty that you are maybe getting for a second time. Grad school is more about kind of co-creation of knowledge, and bachelor's tends to be more like consuming knowledge, right? And master's is much more kind of seminar style, a bit like what we're doing right now. It's much more conversation driven. And I would say on the Pratt side of things, it's as you probably know, Kalia, we do a fair amount with guest speakers and networking and actual real world and hands-on projects, and connecting with industry and with the profession. So if that's your jam, I would say that tends to be even more accelerated at the graduate level per se. And I would say for everyone, the graduate classes you're going to also find they're almost always smaller, right? And so it's more of that seminar style where I think DePaul and our college really shines because you get that personal relationship with, we're heading into week 4 tonight, and I can tell you that Professor Wong and myself, like, we know not just all your names, but I am, sending you guys in between classes. I've learned about your backgrounds and your interests, and we're sending you stuff on internships and jobs and events and things out of the news. And so you'll build really even, if you like the relationships you've had with your professors in the college at the undergrad level, it's just really even stronger at the graduate level, the level of like attention and support y'all get. It's pretty special compared to a lot of places.
I was going to say one of my favorite professors right now is in the room, Professor Wong. Hi.
Well, there you go. We bring out all the heavy hitters. We bring them all out. We are so fortunate to have Professor Wong on the
It's good to hear that the classes stay concise so that you are able to still build those connections, especially at the graduate level.
yes, very much so. So it's and I'd say, yeah, the Pratt program in particular has a career, bent and focus to it at the master's level. Yeah. Hey,
Thank you.
you're
So
welcome.
I saw in the slides that while applying by junior year,
Yeah.
you need to have at least 12 open like electives or credits. Is that just by the time you apply, you should have 12 open, because I'm also taking a minor, which is, I guess, taking up all my open electives.
That's a
How
good,
does
that's
that
a
work?
Seth question of juggling, yeah, the open versus the minor.
Yeah, so in your particular case, your minor is using all of your electives, is that right?
Yes.
How many of your communication electives have you done at this point?
I'm unsure, but not all.
So what I would say, especially since you're a sophomore, so you probably haven't done many or any,
Mhm.
is to make sure you hold on to those communication electives.
Okay.
And at the very least, we could use 2 of the graduate classes there. And then depending on your circumstances, you may be able to squeeze in that extra grad class as an undergraduate student, even though it may not necessarily meet a graduation requirement.
Okay.
So yeah, so just hang on to those communication electives if all possible.
Okay, thank you.
It's a good question.
Another good question. Yeah. Other questions?
Here's another one.
Hey, yeah.
So obviously we hear some really good information about the financing and
Yeah.
kind of the structure. But I'm more curious about like the benefits of having a master's degree on top of our bachelor's. So just from any of you guys, like how would this benefit our career?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question. And the master's degree, I think you can think about like, particularly when you think about where we are with this kind of I'm gonna call it softer job market, then the Great Resignation of several years ago is ancient history. So curriculum wise, it's gonna level up your knowledge and your skill set, right? And you're gonna gain more advanced knowledge and skills than you had as an undergrad, right? So it's gonna do that for you in terms of class content. It's also then, I'd say, another pillar is gonna be continue to invest in growing your network and your relationships with your classmates, with your faculty, with guest speakers, with class clients, because those are the folks that's how you're going to learn about jobs and opportunities. And those are the folks that are going to serve as referrals and or recommenders or even champions for you. So I think that's another big piece. And then the third piece is I don't think you can understate like the importance of you're in a media communication and cultural hub when you're in Chicago. So if you've been enjoying your time at DePaul and being in Chicago, when it comes to jobs and internships, this extends that for you, right? And gives you more time to look at those opportunities. So I think those are kind of 3 ways to think about it. Does every position in the communication field, unlike, let's say, I'm thinking of Ani and this team supports College of Education as well. So College of Ed, when you get a master's, like that's a credential where there's like an automatic.
Hey, Lane, if you're working for CPS, there's.
Yeah,
definitely-
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like, as teachers, that's like an automatic credential that helps them advance their career. It's not exactly the same within communication, right? So you're gonna see some job positions and postings where it talks about years of experience and it might say a master's preferred.
Okay.
So it does help kind of open you up to more opportunities, and I think it helps, speaking from a PR and advertising Pratt side, and I would think journalism too, it helps fast forward you career-wise and advance you. But we tend to be industries that have like, I would say almost an apprenticeship type style to them. You know what I mean? Where it's not like, for better or for worse, it's not just like you get to just totally skip ahead.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense, like your experience as whether it's a cub reporter or a junior Pratt person, but it gets your foot in the door and it helps accelerate your pathway. And I would also say, having done this now for 16 years, you're gonna build also some lifelong friendships and relationships and that will carry on with you through life events. And that's really, I think, special, the community piece of it as well, particularly today. I think that's an important thing too.
Maybe one other thing I would add, and this is for anybody who doesn't have a lot of work experience, is you may find that the master's degree doesn't give you a ton of tangible benefits upfront. Like you're not going to get the highest level job just because you have a master's degree. But what it does do is it sets you apart in your first years of work where you have the advanced education already. You're not, your company's not looking at you like, we got to pay for her to, go get more education because you already have it. And it's a lot easier to get a master's degree now than when you're 30. Just because life is just more complicated.
Yeah.
The further you get into your career, it's harder to go back to school. So you're kind of like front loading the difficulty and to reap the benefits long term.
That's a great point.
So many people, like there's only 10% of people in the US have a master's degree. And one reason is because it's so hard to come back and get that started. You can imagine 15 years out of school, how hard it would be to go back. So that's one of the biggest.
The other thing I would say that we also see is since it's more advanced classes than undergrad, you're gonna find projects and assignments that you can be spoken like someone who's been grading earlier today and yesterday and teaching a grad class in here tonight. You're gonna have work that you can use for your portfolio, that you can use in conversations with prospective employers, that you can be really proud of, that again is part of that process of getting your foot in the door or helping or advance along where they can actually see the quality of your work.
Yeah, definitely sets you apart from people.
Hey.
I have a question. So if we're like communication undergraduate,
Yeah.
that's our degree. What if like we wanted to explore like a different grad program, like maybe not under communication?
Okay.
It can't still be combined, right? Or like
It
with the
can.
open electives, it would go for that, right?
Yeah, there's still work towards open electives. There's a number of them, including in business and liberal arts primarily, where you can do a combined degree from communication to business, for example. So it is possible.
So you just need to research, you'd go on DePaul.edu and you'd like this 5-year BA MA, like this concept, as Seth was saying, is not limited to our college.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you'll have to look, we're experts in knowing the process for these, pathways in our college, but you would need to spend time researching other colleges to see, and then you can start that conversation with them. If that's something you wanted to explore.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So I'm just like wondering, excuse me, if we're trying to graduate, like let's say in 3 years instead of 4 years, and like our 4th year we want to use it to get the graduate degree, like can you do that or no?
Yeah, so depending on where you're at with the undergrad, we don't really care about the time frame so much as the credit hours. So if you have brought in enough credit hours to be a sophomore in your freshman year and you can finish your undergrad in 3 years, that doesn't really change anything with the combined degree. It just changes when you need to apply. So like in your case, since you're a little bit ahead, you would apply earlier than other students who maybe would take the full 4 years.
Okay.
So just kind of like, so basically in that case, you apply before the start of your 3rd to last term.
Okay.
So for a typical student, that would be their junior year because their senior year, they'd have 3 more quarters to finish.
Yeah.
In your case, you might have to apply in, what would traditionally be the end of your sophomore year or beginning of your junior year. Even though at that point you're 3 quarters away from graduating, so you're a little bit
Beginning of
ahead.
my junior year? That's
Well,
really
again, time wise, right?
So
So
next.
so while most people would apply before the end of the 3rd year at school, you might be applying at the end of your 2nd year of school because you're a bit ahead.
Okay.
So you're kind of thinking about, well, when am I going to graduate? And then you work back 3 quarters, and that's when you'd want to apply.
Okay. And I think you asked a similar question, but if we have like a scholarship that's like, let's say it says for like the last 3 years you'll be here, because it's my transfer scholarship. So for my 3rd year, if it's like I'm taking graduate classes, will my undergraduate scholarship still cover that?
If it's through DePaul, no.
No.
If it's an outside scholarship, you'd want to check with them and see if it would roll.
So
But
if
DePaul
it's-
scholarships, they're for undergrad. They end when you finish your undergraduate degree, so they don't continue on past that.
But you would be able to take those, the
The grad classes.
the grad classes that double count.
Yeah.
That senior year, you'd still be covered under the scholarship for that. But as soon as you then,
Once you finish your undergrad.
once you
those
finish your
requirements.
undergrad and then you fully enter just being a master's student, that scholarship then is,
Okay.
it's over, right?
So I'm assuming it's a DePaul scholarship, is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so that would end whenever you graduated with your undergrad degree.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a good question.
A question. I know you guys were talking about it earlier. What, like, for once you finish your bachelor's degree and then you go into
Yeah,
the master's
yeah.
program,
Yep.
you take usually like 2 to 3 classes.
Right.
What time, like time of day? Saying like maybe I will have a part-time or a full-time job.
Oh,
How does
yeah,
that
so great
work?
question. So, the PR and advertising classes are almost exclusively gonna be in the evening, once a week, 5:45 to 9 if it's in person. Some of those classes may be hybrid or fully online. And so, of course, there's different modalities with online. It could be online async, or it could be online synchronous or hybrid. The journalism classes, there's more of a range, and more of those tend to be, if they're in person, actually offered during the day. The common media
Primarily,
stuff, those are primarily evening as well.
there may be a small number, maybe one every
Yeah,
other quarter
and
that's in the daytime. But
You know, it's a mix of in-person, and then I'm thinking like Rochelle's class, like
yeah.
there's online, there's different modalities
Okay.
for them as well, but certainly if it's in person, it's not gonna be more than with rare exceptions, one evening a week,
Okay.
to give you a sense.
Yeah.
You know, because you're probably used to, like, a lot of the undergrad is twice a week.
Yes. Yeah.
And kind of thinking along with that, at the graduate level, it's the registration and the course selection process will be very different from your undergraduate degree. In any given program, there may be anywhere from 4 to 7 options for the entire course. So it's not like you got 3,000 classes to choose from, you
Right.
have 5 or 6, and you're typically not having to worry too much about like which one's the right one to take,
Okay.
because it's a fairly simple process. So just basically taking your major courses and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's much simpler.
It's gonna be much more of like, here's the required classes that you see on like the curriculum, like the APR, and then a smattering of electives.
Yeah.
Like it's not nearly the menu and process of the of undergrad.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the difference between the communication and media program and then the digital communication and media arts?
Yeah, so communication and media is going to be a program that focuses on either applied communication, which is going to be theories and methods of communication,
Yes.
or media and popular culture, which is looking at media and popular culture, criticism and history of popular culture in the media. And so it's going to be really hyper focused on that. Whereas digital communication is looking at a variety of how we communicate in the digital age, from ethics to media arts, like storytelling and design, and looking into, and then giving you electives from several of our other programs. So you'll take classes that focus on journalism, on public relations and advertising, popular culture, and then any number of our computer and digital media classes from over in CDM. So you'll have a lot of flexibility in what you take, a lot more options, and you can really tailor that program to focus in on the areas that you're most interested in. So, yeah, so communication media is a little bit more focused, where DCMA, I have students who focus on game design, students who focus on PRAD, students who focus on journalism, and they can kind of really take a lot of electives. based
So
on
one
their
of the
interests.
things, the unique out of our 5 master's programs in the college, that DCMA, which will soon be DCMD, Digital Communication and Media Design, that is a jointly offered master's that is taught from College of Communication and then the School of Design, which is inside of Computing and Digital Media, CDM, which Seth was just talking about. So it does open you up to a larger menu of classes. There's also good flexibility, like Seth said, on our side, with classes that you can take. And I would say with CDM and School of Design, there tends to be a fair amount of what we might describe as skills-based classes, right? So less of theory and research, or critique-oriented, and more actual like hands-on design, like classes, if that makes sense.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Hey.
So I'm a Pratt major and thinking about doing the Pratt
Get it.
masters.
Sure.
Is that smart to do the same undergrad as masters, or would it be like communications and media sounds interesting? Is that beneficial?
It's up, I mean, there's pros and cons to both. A lot of, from experience, and we've got Professor Grace here and myself, like a whole lot of BA, MA, that the MA students that we get did Pratt as the undergrad and then are staying on to do that. That wouldn't be rare. That wouldn't be like rare or odd in the least to go kind of deeper and sort of broaden your knowledge.
And really, you have to think at the grad level, like, what do you want to do with it? Because the graduate work is going to be so much more hyper-focused on your interest and on your particular field. So you wouldn't want to go into common media because it's kind of interesting. You'd want to go into it because I want to work in that area and I want to do stuff related to that. So if you really love Pratt and you want to work in the PR industry, it makes the most sense to really dive in and focus your education at the higher level on that.
I don't think we have, it looks like on this slide deck, it was missing that slide that was Sadie Guffey. You know, Sadie is before our current Delilah, our current DePaul PRSSA president. And Sadie was my graduate assistant for a long time as well. And she very much did her BA MA in Pratt. She stuck in Pratt the whole time, and now she's at an Edelman-owned agency. And I don't have the quote in front of me, but it basically makes the case for why she decided to go that route and why that was beneficial to do. Yeah. I want to be sure, Kalia, that we're, if you have any follow-up questions for us, we have a little bit more time remaining, and if there's anything else.
I honestly, again, everything has you've all been so helpful. Everybody's questions have pertained to my own. So yeah, this sounds good. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Like I said, we're working on if there's a way to teleport you the pizza.
Perfect. I'm still waiting.
I know. Maybe like at least we'll get to like, I could see that happening more quickly, the scratch and sniff.
Exactly.
The way to, I could see that we'll have devices where we can transmit the smells.
Right.
Probably.
I thought we just called Domino's and had it delivered.
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah, Domino's app. That's it.
That's it.
I have something I want to double check.
Yes,
This is
sure.
what it says and like Matt, like there are courses cross-listed as, you know, undergrad as well as
Yeah.
grad classes. Ideally, like, would you recommend students take those courses during their undergrads or during their graduate programs?
Either, just not both.
So it doesn't really like changes the type of class that they take, right?
Yeah, so this is more of an issue in journalism than in
Yes.
other programs,
Okay.
but
Yes.
in the case that there's a cross-listed class between grad and undergrad for Pratt, we would just say, if you take the class as an undergrad, you probably don't want to take it as a graduate student. These will typically be electives, because then a lot of the content, you'll do some different things, but so much of the content will be repeated that you will feel like you're not learning as much as you should. So I don't think there's a preference to take it when you're in the undergrad or grad. Either way is fine. Just
not taking it, not taking it twice. And historically, for a cross-listed class, the master's students and the cross-listed class, there should be a separate syllabus and
extra assignment.
an extra assignment or assignments, plural, so it's a bit different. But yeah, it's a great question. They should really be just taking it one.
I think for the one class they take, like for example, as an undergrad, they can take 3 grad classes in that quarter. I always have undergrad students at class.
Yeah.
I'm curious about, are there specific classes they should be looking for, or they have great flexibility in choosing those 3 grad classes as an undergrad?
Yeah, for the first quarter, it depends on the major. So there's usually an introductory course that all new grad students are going to take in the autumn. So if you're starting your program in the autumn, then I would basically tell you, you gotta take this class.
Yeah, so for
In
like
future quarters, there may be
Yeah.
electives and required classes, and well, kind of depending on your interests, like, you know, there's Matt's got a great class that he teaches, then they might want to take that one, so we prioritize it.
But I think for Brad, right, so normally it's gonna be when they come in, the advertising foundations, the PR
Yeah.
foundations. those are, ideal, those are obviously required, and ideally you don't want them catching that in the second year.
Yeah,
In their program, so you want them catching usually in the first year if possible. The PR foundations, the ad foundations, the ethics and law, the data, research and insights, the methods class. It's not all, but of course, that's in an ideal world where, in a prior world where we could program more sections of classes, and we're not in an ideal world.
So just reading this, it says that the public relations and advertising applicants should have completed or are currently holding a Pratt-related internship or job. And so you'll have to, so for the master's program, you have to apply by spring of your junior year standing. So I would have until then to get a job or an internship.
I think you're looking, I mean, that's a sheet that you're looking at, that's not a BA, MA specific
Oh,
sheet,
okay,
I
okay.
believe, what Ani?
That's the
Got it.
combined degree, which
Is-
is also listed on the website.
it is there, yeah.
Yeah, but it's
It's
flexible.
flexible.
I haven't
Okay.
seen that in my
Okay.
experience,
It's
I have not seen that
required.
Oh, okay.
been something that's like a pressure point or a pain point.
Okay.
So,
That may be more for students who don't have a background in Pratt. We might want to see some interest and some
Okay.
knowledge in the field, but you'll.
because you're also you're gonna get letters, and your professors they'll generally will be familiar with this process,
Mhm.
right? So you're gonna go to them and you're gonna ask for a letter of recommendation, and you all are gonna be rock star undergrads and give them 2 weeks or more to actually have the time to fulfill that request.
Mhm.
And even if they end up doing it, even if Professor Wong and I do it faster than that, it's a nice respect thing.
Okay.
And, so you're gonna, that admission, that committee, they're gonna see, letters from your professors speaking to your, those letters are gonna tend to focus on more your academic performance.
Okay.
But may talk to you, depending on the relationship that they have between faculty and student, maybe they talk about the internships or volunteering or campus leadership, right? In many ways, like the co-curricular, pre-professional, thinking again of like a Sadie of Delilah, that can be as valuable as an internship in terms of showing, like experience and responsibility and leadership. So that's all thing that your professors, like the review committee, all know to look for.
Okay.
Yes.
Could you tell me if I have enough open, under communications?
Sure.
I just wanna make sure I'm not taking all the classes.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I was
For the
planning on
master's
taking
program, so I'm
Uh-huh.
currently registered with students with disabilities
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Are accommodations available for
Masters, yes. Very much so.
Okay.
So at the beginning, I don't know if you could hear that question, Kalia, because I know we've got kind of two conversations a bit that popped up here. But yeah, like resources like CSD or like UCAPS, all that carries over to grad students. And yeah, as long as you stay enrolled and up to date, because there's times when people,
Thinking about this.
Mhm.
drop out or stay registered, but like don't take advantage. Yeah, your professors for grad classes too, the beginning of each quarter, we're gonna get a notification that's gonna say one or more students are enrolled. We click through, we can access it. And then that's handled different ways, as you know, depending on the faculty.
Yeah.
Some of them you need to be proactive with, some of them, you might get someone
So I
like
can
me that
take
might
these,
actually
but
like,
if I didn't
just
end up
drop you a
taking
note and
these,
just say, hey, I saw you registered with CSD,
Okay.
Yeah, these two.
hey, I don't have tests, so the time and a half or the 2 times or whatever is not relevant.
Okay.
But yeah, you still have all that.
So just like our undergraduate transcripts, any like accommodations roll over as well? Or like
Yeah.
it's easier to,
Yeah, what's nice is you're already a DePaul student, so you're already like registered, and yes, that support.
Yeah, and the DePaul transcript with your application, you just pull your unofficial, which will
Yeah.
accept as your
Then
official.
okay.
Yeah.
I plan on doing study
So I think we've got time for maybe one more question.
Okay. So I can
Hi, Grace. Yes, ma'am.
So it usually takes, so there are
Okay.
12 to 13 classes total.
Right.
Get your master's
Yeah.
degree. is that including or not? I have kind of two questions. Is that including or not including the 3 classes you take during your senior year?
That's included. It's actually 12 minus 3, 13 minus 3.
Okay,
That's including, you're working towards that.
that
total.
12.
Yes.
All right, and then so the shortest amount of time you can get your master's is 1 year. However, if you don't take 3 classes.
Yeah, because
per
think
year.
about like if think about if the degree is 12
Mhm.
and you knock out 1, 3 of them as a senior year, you've got 9 remaining.
Okay.
And that assumes then that you would take 3 in fall, 3 in winter, and 3 in spring, and that would knock out your.
Okay,
But
so
you could downshift that and you could see then how it might then roll into another quarter or half a year,
okay.
which is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right, I think we're gonna, again, you've got our contact information. Thanks for the good questions, everybody. And thanks for joining us online. And if you're watching this recording, you've got our contact information. Don't be a stranger. Reach out, everybody.
Nice to meet you all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you all so much.